this is Tom, aka Gedeon here for Tabletop Tap Room, and today I have with me Don Semora of Wizard Tower Games. Welcome to the program, Don.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Now, it's actually good to have you on. I don't think I've had you on the show before, have I?
Nope, not before.
So, I mean, we've done a lot of talking by IM, and and so I've been excited to have you on. Now, you've recently started a Kickstarter for a new game.
Our first one.
What's that all about?
It's called D20 Delving. It is essentially it's a tabletop RPG in a board game. It's basically designed, in kind of the impetus of was when the idea is you're playing with a bunch of friends, D&D, it's a Saturday night, and somebody doesn't show up. What do? You know, everybody's there. They want a game. They want to adventure. They want to have fun. They want to play an RPG, but the DM doesn't show up or a critical player doesn't show up. So you're kind of spinning your wheels on what you're going to do. So I thought about D20 Delving, a RPG in a board game.
Now, when you say D20 Delving, we've talked about this game, but we've not talked about the rules. So I was inferring from this D20 Delving that this is D20 mechanics that everybody's familiar with?
No, it uses the D20 for the core, if you will, for the core mechanic. The way it works is this, is you roll a 4-sided dice to determine how many moves you make on the board. And then when you're done moving, you're in your space, a hallway, a room, in front of a trap, whatever. And then you'll roll the D20, and that tells you whether or not you have an encounter, you find loot, or just nothing happens. And then all of the other baseline mechanics, combat, doing saving throws for traps, avoiding things, those are all D20 based. So that was kind of the impetus of calling it D20 Delving, because the D20 dice is kind of the most important dice of the game.
Okay. Now, Tim Kask is on board for this.
Yes.
And Tim Kask, that's a name I've heard before. Tell me about this collaboration.
Well, as everybody knows, Tim, and for those of you who don't, Tim Kask, I believe, was the first official employee of TSR back in the 70s under Gary Gygax Sr., Dave Arneson. He was the creator of Dungeon Magazine. He was an editor for them. He worked on several games. I believe he worked on Blackmore, or one of the parts of Blackmore. So I've been a fan of Tim's for many, many years. I've actually talked to Tim a few times at a few other game cons. I don't think he remembers me. Probably I'm one of 500 a day he talks to. So no, he's not going to say, I remember you, but I started doing this game, and basically what we did was we were thinking about how to make the game more interactive, how to make the game more something different. Because, let's face it, 3D minis ain't a new thing. The 20-sided dice and board games is not a new thing. So what I did was I started thinking back about, well, why not try to involve one of the other original people involved in D&D, for lack of a better word, the D&D royalty, the nobility who really helped found it and put D&D on the map. So on Discord video one day, I was talking with some people, and we kind of come up with the idea of creating the game, having some type of element that was interactive. So I reached out to Tim because I had already been in contact with Tim on PM over some other things, and said, Tim, we have this idea. We'd like you to go ahead and read the loot cards. And he's like, well, send me some information on a guy and I'll get back to you, type thing. So I just sent him a bunch of stuff. Gave him a synopsis of the game, gave him card samples. I sent him graphics, a part of the board. Week or two later, he messaged me back, says, well, let's talk on the phone. I talked to him on the phone, and then he had a gentleman by the name of Jim Wampler reach out to me. And Jim reached out to me because him and Jim are best of friends, and talked to Jim about it. got some advice from Jim on the Kickstarter. Thank you very much, Jim, for that. By the way, you were a great help to me to make this what I did. And Tim thought about it, and Tim said, you know what? I'm not going to read the loot cards. I want to read everything. So I was like, okay. So we got everything all put together in a Word doc. We sent it to him, so he has that. And the idea is going to be is there's going to be either QR codes on each card, or there's going to be a QR code master card in there that you're going to be able to scan using your smartphone, smart device, iPad, Android Pad, whatever. And it's going to take you to either that specific card's description or a master list that you can click on. And you'll be able to hear Tim read it off in his own unique way.
That sounds so cool. And as far as I know, you would be the first to have done that in a game.
I've played a lot of board games and a lot of tabletop RPGs. I've been playing games for 44 years, literally. And I have never ran into a board game before that had an individual reading off the cards and interaction like that. There's been electronic, like the Dark Tower, where, it makes a sound and such. And there's been other games that have had elements where something, there might be a noise or a blurb, but nothing as consistent as this.
Now, I don't know if you've actually thought of this, but it occurred to me right away because Tammy, who I refer to as the good wife on my program, is in special education. And so right away, I saw the possibilities for these interactive cards as you were describing them to me in our IM conversations. And right away, I saw the possibility for the seeing impaired. And what strikes close to home for me is not just the seeing impaired, but an adult with developmental delays such that their reading is kind of a little on the rough side. We have that within my family. And so right away, this seems like a game changer for those people. And I don't know if that was something you even considered with this game, but this game is going to be a game changer, I think, for those particular individuals.
Well, I hope it is, because, your wife works with the individual. She does. My wife is actually, she's a 20 some odd year teacher. She specialized in pre-K and kindergarten, first grade. That's her area. She works for a Montessori academy right now, which Montessori is very hands-on. It's an entirely different idea of how to, deal with children and learning and such. And actually, that was kind of the impetus of this. I thought, with something interactive, because Montessori is hands-on, tactile. And we've already reached out to the American Council for the Blind with this game to ask them for guidance on how we can make it maybe even better before we get into production in November, first part of November. So if there's something that we can add to it to make it more friendly to those that have disabilities or impairments, then I think that'd be a great thing, because you'd have a board game that anyone can play, and the aspect that helps the person who has the disability does not impair the normal play of the game for people who want to play the game. So it helps both aspects of people who play the game without interfering, if you will, with the flow for each person.
Yes. And I love that, because I think that, in this day and age, we need to have more inclusivity, and that we're including people. And I know the word inclusivity can have political connotations, but it really, I mean, we're talking about, including those with seeing impairments in the game. And I just love that. And I commend you for that. I want to jump back to the share screen and look at the in the Kickstarter here. You had the Krampus Pack.
Yes.
And so there was a basic buy-in at 70, and then you had for 110, you had this Krampus Pack. Tell me about the Krampus Pack.
The The Krampus Pack is a Kickstarter exclusive. It's only going to be available on this Kickstarter. It basically has 3 unique figures. You're going to have Saint Nicholas. You're going to have Krampus. And then you're going to have a mystery figure that I'm not going to tell anybody about until you'll open the box and you'll find out. It's really cool. And then you get some loot cards. You get some added encounter cards. You get a unique set of dice that's exclusive to the Krampus Pack. And the Krampus Pack you can play it with D20 Delving, but it's also kind of a lead-in to the next expansion, the first expansion we're going to be doing for D20 Delving.
Oh, wow. So mystery figure, I'm going to be crossing my fingers that it's a snowman with an AK-47. but either way, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna jump in and support this at the Krampus.
And that's greatly appreciated, Tom. Seriously, thank you very much for supporting us. And I want to say also thank you to everybody else who has stepped in, supported us, who are on the fence about doing it, or even kind of just gave us some ideas and said, listen, I can't afford to support you, but here's a suggestion. Every little bit counts.
Yeah. Well, I just thought, exclusive only to the thing. And, inevitably I'll probably be doing something involving D&D at Christmas, and I'll just grab these figures and use them right out of the box. I mean, I'd already done that with other games where I've grabbed hordes of zombies out of the box.
Yeah.
Used them in the D&D game. So, I just couldn't help myself. I was like, all right, sometimes I can resist these upsales, but that I was like, oh yeah, twist my arm, just twist it. So now you're doing in-house manufacture. Everything's almost everything. Are you making you're not making the dice in-house, but just about everything else in the box is being made by you?
No, we're making the dice in-house.
Oh, you are?
Yep.
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Everything from stem to stern is made in-house. The only thing that I might go out of house with is the printing of the figures. I have a large format resin printer, but I have a buddy who has a very large format resin printer. He does it commercially, and he can print 400 figures at a time. Wow. So I've kind of talking to him about, depending what happens with this Kickstarter, it's 6 figures a box, 3 figures for a Krampus pack. So you figure nine figures per package going out. That can get out of hand real quick.
Right.
You sell 100 games, that's 900 figures that need to be made. They need to be made right, cleanly, and put together real quick. So that's about the only aspect of the manufacturing process that we're looking at now about maybe subbing out. And actually, technically, it's not a sub because he's a buddy of mine.
Yeah, well, I knew you had bought that big industrial quality resin printer, and with the whole view towards doing this. So I wanted to ask that question because I wanted to make that point that this game is going to be made in America, not in
Absolutely.
China.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, was it more of patriotism that you just wanted to make it in America, or was it that you just didn't want to be hostage to China? License?
I'm gonna tell you, it's a little bit of patriotism. I mean, I'm proud of my country, and I think that the more that we can do manufacturing wise in the United States does nothing but help our economy as a whole. But also, since COVID hit especially, I've seen other Kickstarters get in huge trouble. It's not the fact that they're being dishonest. It's not the fact that they don't have intent to deliver. They do everything right. They do everything timely, but shipping containers get delayed. They get held up. I just had a paper delivery, 320 black core GSM get held up by customs for 4 months.
Wow.
It's paper. It's in the United States. It's sitting in Atlanta and it's held up. So I started thinking about that and I was like, wait a minute here. I have no choice. I got to deal with it. And then there was an auction down in Toledo, Ohio, and I went down there because there was a binding machine down there and I wanted to bind my own books. Right. So I went down there and they had a binding machine. They had a card cutter. They had card dies, deck dies. all of that, and no one was bidding on it. So I was like, okay, I'll be happy to take a dive on it. So I bought the card cutter. I bought the all the dies for the cutter. So I can do different deck sizes, different box sizes, everything. I got like 11 different card sizes. I can do little small, little 3x3 tarot cards, pretty much everything I can do.
Wow.
And then I had a large format Epson commercial printer, and I upgraded that. I sold it and then upgraded to a larger Epson commercial 12 color printer. So I can print, I can go ahead and I can bind, and I can go ahead and cut cards. So, and the cutter also will cut boards. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're one-stop shopping, everything under one roof. You're creating a gaming empire here with Wizard Tower Games. Is what?
What I want to do is what I'm trying to achieve here is I want the ability to control not only product quality, but I also want to be able to control that when that product is done, being able to get it out to that customer in a timely manner. I understand. I don't want to wait when I buy something. We live in a now world.
Right.
You talked about it on your T-shirts. I mean, look what they did to you over your T-shirt. And but the thing is, that's the sad part about the world that we live in, is there's a lot of operations like that, sadly. And we also are looking into once we get our feet fully wet and we get everything where it's humming perfectly, we're going to start also then offering small print runs for small game companies. Like if they want some playtest copies made, or if they need something made for their, like if they just need a 1 or 2 board, runoff game for their Kickstarter to be able to show pictures of it and make it look all nice for their Kickstarter to help them. We're willing to do that. We're going to get into that. Or for companies that want to do smaller run. And what I mean by smaller run is, 100 copy and under runs.
Right.
And we can do it a heck of a lot more economically, because the trick to buying is you still got to buy your paper overseas, but you just buy it in pallet form. So you get it in bulk.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Now, I also know that your daughter is starting a business that you're helping her out with.
D20 Wear T-shirt. Yes, T-shirts and just all kinds of cool designs. She's involved because at her age, she's a hell of a lot more hip to the trends that are going on right now than I am. We want all the designs to be original, so we don't want to basically just go online and say, oh, that's a cool design, we'll go ahead and take it, because you don't have a right to take somebody else's design. Again, your video was very true, very impactful and true, what you were talking about that man's Star Frontiers design just being hijacked. It's not right.
Tom's design was totally hijacked.
So D20 Wear is just going to be a small run T-shirts, fun stuff. Probably going to stick to T-shirts. Probably later this fall get into things like hoodies or light jackets, that type of stuff. But the idea is help her out. She is in her pre-nursing. She's a junior in high school, but she's actually only going half-time high school now. She's half-time high school, half-time college. And she's going to be a nurse. So
that was why I wanted to do the shout out, because I was a nurse's aide for a decade, and I know she's going to nursing school. So this D20 apparel is going to help her pay for nursing school, and it's like right there. So the only other way I would like her more is if she was an Army nurse. They're my favorite nurse.
I tried to get her to go in the military, and she was like, no, I want to work in an ER. I want to work locally. And, Well, my brother's an Army nurse, and his wife is an Army nurse. And so, a special place in my heart for Army nurses. But definitely, and that's not to poop on the Navy or the, hey, nurses are nurses. I mean, they have a tough job. I'll tell you something. I don't envy them one bit on what they go through.
Yeah. So, and at any rate, I just wanted to get a little shout out in there for your daughter, because I know that she's doing this to support her college, and I just think that's fantastic. So, the last thing I just wanted to do was I just wanted to impress upon the subscribers for this channel and anybody watching it that this is going to be an innovative game. It's an innovative game that brings more people in. It's inclusive and pulls more people in and makes it easier. I mean, it's number one, it's great because it's a great alternative because somebody didn't show up for regular game night. And all right, well, we wanted to play D&D, but we can't because so-and-so's not here and we got to fight the big boss. So we table that. Here's a way to just, as a board game, play D&D and still have some adventure. But it's also, it's bringing in those people with some challenges, either seeing impairments, development. You know, I have an adult child with developmental delays, and reading is tough for her. You know, I know this. So it's a challenge. So I think this would be the kind of thing that she would just absolutely love, particularly because I guess you're probably going to be using a smartphone to scan the QR code.
You can use a smartphone, you can use an Android device, but also there's another aspect of this game, and that is it has a strong single player component. You don't need to have anybody. You can open the box up and you can play the game by yourself and still get that feel. You can play multiple characters, you know, sort of like the Eye of the Beholder games by SSI on computer. I mean, you know, you can line up, you can have 4 players, you can play all 4 of them and kind of adventure as a group and such. But like I said, you know, 1 to 4 player or 1 to 6 players, excuse me. So yeah.
And age 14 and above.
It's 14 and above, but really it's okay for anyone younger than that. We did a Panatic study on it, which is basically, it's a study where they take a look at the game itself and they look at the learnability, they look at the grade level, reading level, difficulty for it, and they assign an overall age level to it. It actually scored in the mid 13 to 13 and a half, but we made 14 to be safe. But, you know, realistically, you know, 10, 11-year-old child can sit down and play this game. I mean, there's nothing conceptually adult about it. It does have violence. You're slaying monsters and you're dealing with traps and such, but there's no odd language in it. Let's put it that way. There's no language in it that would give a parent pause.
Yes. Yeah. So I just want to impress upon the subscribers and the viewers of this that this is an innovative game. It's going to bring more people in. It's widening the scope for people to play, and I highly want to encourage anyone watching to support this. You've got 22 days to raise another 14,000 on it for fun.
Yes. And this weekend, or not this weekend, during the course of this week, we're going to be putting out several short little 3 or 4 minute videos where we're going to be showing people more of the mechanics of the game, how you interact with an encounter with a monster or with a trap, or if you run to a locked door, how do you interact with that? Character creation. We're going to show you the 3D models of the figures up close so you can see the detail in them. So hopefully over the course of the next 4 or 5 days, as these videos start being released on our social media, people start seeing them and going, oh, now I'm getting this game a little bit better. And maybe they'll look at it and go, this is something that I want to help support.
Right. So I'll put a link in the show notes for Wizard Tower Games YouTube channel. That's where they want to watch for those videos.
Yep.
And I'll put a link for the Kickstarter. Are there any other links I should be offering?
No, the YouTube channel and the Kickstarter are the 2 main ones, because everything goes on our YouTube. That's video wise that we do. And you'll be able to go into there and see. You can also go to Tim Kask's channel, Curmudgeon in the Cellar. He actually, in his last video, in the very front of it, talked about D20 Delving a little bit and his role in it. So yeah, I think he also has links in his. So you can either watch Curmudgeon in the Cellar, which I suggest you all do. Tim is a vessel of information, answers the questions and gives all that inside info and all that. So yeah, those are probably the 2-3 main channels to do.
All right. So I want to thank you for coming on the show, Don, and I really appreciate what you're trying to do in the gaming hobby and being a positive influence, and I want to commend you for that. So This is Tom for Tabletop Taproom and Don for Wizard Tower Games. And we want to thank you for watching. We want to thank the subscribers. You guys are great. And check out this Kickstarter. This is really worthy of being at least looked at, if not backed, because of just how innovative it is and what it's attempting to do and how it's going to impact people who have been left out of gaming, more or less. So keep on gaming, and thanks for taking the time to watch the video.